There comes a moment in every life when something breaks quietly, invisibly long before anyone hears the sound. It's the moment you realize you've been carrying the weight of 1,000 unspoken disappointments. The moment you finally see that the exhaustion you feel isn't from the world hurting you, but from you abandoning yourself over and over again. And yet there is an even more terrifying moment. A moment most people never speak about. A moment that can change an entire lifetime in a single breath. It's the moment you discover the truth. You weren't tired of life, you were tired of living a life that never once belonged to you. That realization hits like lightning. It shakes the soul. It strips away every illusion you ever clung to. And in that split second, you see it, the raw, painful truth hiding beneath everything you've lost, everything you've chased, everything you've begged for. You were the one person you never chose. This is the breaking point. The turning point. The moment that will either destroy you or finally free you. And today, right here, in this very video, you will witness the exact moment where your old self shatters and your true worth begins to rise, calm, unshakable, undeniable. Because this is not just another video. This is the last video you will ever need to truly value yourself. Breathe in. Stay with me. Your life is about to change. Before we begin, please take a moment to subscribe to Buddhism in every moment. Your support gives us the strength and motivation to continue creating meaningful, healing, and life-changing content for you. Part 2. Returning home to yourself. The deep art of stopping the chase. You don't realize how far you've drifted from yourself until one day you wake up and notice that nothing around you feels like home, not your job, not your relationships, not even the thoughts echoing inside your own mind. And yet, the world keeps telling you, run faster, try harder, hold on tighter, prove more, chase more. But the more you run, the more lost you become. There is a quiet tragedy in the human heart, the way we learn to run after people who don't see us, situations that don't honor us, and love that was never meant to stay. We don't chase because we are weak. We chase because at some point in our life, someone taught us that love must be earned, that connection is fragile, and that if we don't grip tightly enough, everything will slip away. But here is the truth that almost no one tells you. Everything you chase was never yours to begin with. Everything meant for you will meet you without a chase. The emotional marathon nobody talks about, maybe you've lived this without even realizing it. You replay conversations at night, wondering what more you could have said. You wait hours for replies that never come. You interpret silence as a personal flaw instead of a sign of misalignment. You bend, shrink, compromise, and reshape yourself until even your own soul can't recognize who you've become. You keep running this emotional marathon because your younger self was taught a lie, that if you don't run, you won't be chosen, that if you stop, you'll lose everything, that your worth lives in someone else's acceptance. But Buddha taught you suffer because you cling. And chasing is nothing but clinging in motion, a frantic attempt to hold on to what your spirit already outgrew. The missing return ticket. There is a story often told in Buddhist tradition about the monk who searched the world for enlightenment, only to realize what he sought was living quietly inside him all along. But let's rewrite that story in a way only modern life can. Imagine standing alone at the edge of the Grand Canyon at sunrise. The air is cold, the world is silent, and for the first time in months, maybe years, nothing is pulling at you. The sky opens in shades of gold and fire, and you feel the truth settle into your bones. You have been wandering the world without a return ticket to yourself. Every chase you ever committed to, every person you begged to stay, every situation you tried to force, every moment you doubted, Your worth was nothing more than you walking away from your own inner home. And the canyon whispers back in its quiet, ancient voice, come back. Nothing out there is yours until you return to what's in here. Your heart knows this. It has known it for a long time. Why you chase what isn't yours? You don't chase because you're desperate. You chase because something in you once felt abandoned. Maybe it was a childhood where affection was inconsistent. Maybe it was a relationship that taught you that silence means danger. Maybe it was a moment in your life where you believed that love could be lost at any second. So you learned to run first and question later. You learned to cling tightly. You learned to overgive. But here's the quiet miracle of the human heart: you can unlearn the chase. You can return home. You can rebuild your inner safety. And when you do, something extraordinary happens, something sacred, something liberating, something life-altering. Nothing outside of you can take from you what you already are inside. The law of emotional gravity. Let's talk about something no one teaches, yet it explains everything. What you chase will always move away from you. What you embody will naturally come toward you. Chasing says, I am incomplete without you. I need you to choose me. I need this outcome to feel whole. But embodiment says, I am already enough. I do not fear loss. What is aligned will move toward me. Chasing pushes. Embodiment attracts. This isn't spiritual theory. It is emotional physics. Just like gravity, it works whether you believe in it or not. Stopping the chase is not losing, it's reclaiming. Here is the part most people misunderstand. Stopping the chase is not giving up. It is waking up. It is saying, I choose peace over panic. I choose alignment over attachment. I choose myself over the fear of being alone. It is choosing to no longer beg for what your soul does not need. It is choosing to no longer water deserts, hoping they'll turn into gardens. It is choosing to no longer explain your worth to those committed to misunderstanding it. It is choosing to return home, a moment of stillness that changes everything. Close your eyes for just a moment. Breathe, slowly, gently, deeply, and whisper internally, what if I stopped running? What if you let things unfold instead of forcing them? What if you released timelines that were never yours? What if you trusted your own pace, your own worth, your own path? You would begin to feel something you may not have felt in years. The weight lifting, the breathing becoming easier, the soul returning to its center. You don't need to chase. Your presence is enough. Your energy is enough. Your worth is enough. Your peace is the magnet. When you stop running, something beautiful happens. You attract friendships that feel safe. You attract love that doesn't make you question your value. You attract opportunities aligned with your truth. You attract a life that feels like yours. Why? Because peace is magnetic. Centered energy is magnetic. Self-respect is magnetic. Clarity is magnetic. And when you embody these things, life begins moving toward you in ways that feel effortless. The right people show up. The right timing reveals itself. The right paths open. The right blessings flow. No chase. No forcing. No begging. Just alignment. The quiet return to yourself. Stopping the chase is not something dramatic. It's not a sudden announcement or a grand transformation. It's a quiet shift. A gentle turning inward. A decision that whispers instead of yells, I am done abandoning myself. You return to your breath. You return to your center. You return to your truth. You return to your worth. And slowly, beautifully, your life returns to you. You don't need the world to choose you. You don't need people to stay. You don't need outcomes to validate your existence. You only need to choose yourself. Fully, quietly, consistently, tenderly. The moment you do, the moment you stop chasing, your entire life begins to unfold in ways you never imagined. Because nothing is more powerful than a person who finally remembers their own worth. Part 3: The Truth of Worth. Remembering what you never lost. There is a strange and painful thing that happens as we grow up. We begin to forget ourselves. Not suddenly, not dramatically, but quietly, slowly, almost invisibly. Bit by bit, piece by piece, we start handing away parts of our worth to opinions, to expectations, to achievements, to failures, to people who never truly saw us. And one day, without knowing when it happened, you look at your life and whisper to yourself, "Why do I feel so incomplete?" But here is the miracle hidden beneath that question: you are not incomplete. You are not missing anything. You never were. You are simply disconnected from what has always been inside you. This part of your journey is not about becoming more. It's about remembering what has always been yours. The lie the world taught you somewhere along the way. Society taught you a dangerous myth. Your worth is something you earn. Earn through success. Earn through productivity. Earn through perfection. Earn through someone else's approval. Earn through staying quiet, staying small, staying convenient. But that is the great illusion of modern life. Children are born whole. They never question whether they deserve love. They never doubt their belonging. They never negotiate for their worth. A child never says, "I must accomplish something before I can matter." That belief was taught to you later by culture, by family, by comparison, by fear. The world conditioned you to believe you must prove yourself. But spirituality, Buddhist wisdom, ancient teachings, and every timeless truth says the opposite: worth is inherent. Worth is original. Worth is unchangeable. Worth is your birthright. You don't earn it. You remember it. The mirror that shows your true self. Imagine walking through the quiet streets of Kyoto at dawn. There is a stillness in the air that feels sacred, like the world hasn't awakened yet. You pass a small garden temple, its wooden gate slightly open. Inside stands a single stone fountain, its surface reflecting the early morning sky. For a moment, everything in your life goes silent. And in the reflection, soft, peaceful, undisturbed, you see something unexpected. You see yourself. Not the version shaped by pressure. Not the one carrying old stories. Not the one wounded by other people's carelessness. You see the self underneath all of it, the self that was always there, waiting to be remembered. And in that reflection you realize your worth does not change with who looks at you. It only changes with how deeply you see yourself. Worth is not a reflection, it is a substance. One of the biggest misunderstandings in life is believing that your worth changes depending on what is reflected at you. If someone loves you, you feel valuable. If someone ignores you, you feel small. If someone criticizes you, you feel flawed. If someone praises you, you feel confident. But the truth is far simpler and far more powerful. Your worth does not come from what is reflected. Your worth comes from what you are made of. A diamond does not become more valuable because someone finally admires it. The sun does not shine brighter because someone looks at it. The ocean does not deepen because someone recognizes its beauty. Your essence is not fragile. Your soul is not conditional. Your value is not negotiable. The world can distort your reflection, but it cannot change your substance. The emotional dust that covers your light, sometimes your worth feels dim, not because it is gone, but because it is covered. Covered by comparison. Covered by criticism. Covered by old wounds. Covered by perfectionism. Covered by the fear of not being enough. You forget your light not because it stops shining, but because so much dust has settled on it. And this dust is not your fault. It is the natural accumulation of life. But there comes a moment, a sacred, quiet moment, when your spirit whispers, "Clean the mirror. I am still here." That whisper is your awakening. That whisper is your return. That whisper is your rebirth. The day you stop needing permission, do you know what true self-worth feels like? It feels like the day you stop asking the world for permission to exist. It feels like walking into a room without hiding parts of yourself, speaking your truth without apologizing, choosing yourself without guilt, allowing people to misunderstand you without explaining, valuing your peace more than someone's approval. Knowing that what leaves your life was never meant to stay, trusting that what is aligned will always find you. The day you stop outsourcing your worth is the day your life becomes your own again. Why remembering is harder than forgetting? You'd think remembering your worth would be easy, since you were born with it. But remembering is harder than forgetting, because remembering requires honesty. It requires looking at the wounds you never acknowledged, the patterns you never questioned, the versions of yourself created out of survival, the dreams you abandoned to fit into someone else's narrative, the ways you abandoned yourself without noticing. Remembering your worth means facing yourself, not the polished version, not the curated version, not the socially acceptable version, but the raw, unfiltered, vulnerable truth of who you are. And that kind of self-honesty is rare. That kind of courage is rare. That kind of awakening is rare. But you are here now. And you are ready. Your self-worth is a returning, not a becoming. You don't build self-worth like a project. You return to it like a home. A home you forgot existed. A home you left without meaning to. A home that never moved, never changed, never left you. You are not on a journey of becoming. You are on a journey of remembering. Remembering your light. Remembering your essence. Remembering your truth. Remembering your wholeness. Remembering your belonging. And once you remember, once even a small piece of that truth returns, everything in your life begins to shift. Not just how others treat you, but how you treat yourself. Not just what you give, but what you no longer give away. Not just who you attract, but who you no longer tolerate. Self-worth doesn't just change your life. It transforms your reality. An affirmation to anchor into your being. Place your hand on your heart. Take a slow breath and whisper, my worth is not earned. My worth is remembered. I am already enough. Let those words sink into your bones. Let them melt into you. That forgot. This is not poetry. This is truth. Your worth is not a destination. It is your starting point. Your worth is not a question. It is your foundation. Your worth is not fragile. It is eternal. And the moment you remember it, your entire life begins to rise to meet who you were always meant to be. Part 4: Silence as Power. Reclaiming your energy from over-explaining. There comes a moment in life when you realize you've spent years, maybe decades, trying to convince the wrong people to see you. You've explained your intentions to people committed to misunderstanding you. You've defended your heart to people who never bothered to protect theirs. You've argued your worth to people who couldn't see past their own wounds. And one day, you finally stop and ask yourself, why am I still explaining myself to people who were never listening? This is where your power begins. Not when you shout. Not when you argue. Not when you bend yourself into exhaustion trying to be understood. Your power begins the moment you choose silence. The most exhausting work in the world, there is nothing more draining than trying to prove to someone that you meant well. Trying to convince someone that your heart is good. Trying to correct a rumor. Trying to fix someone's perception of you. Trying to explain your choices, your boundaries, your healing, your growth. You can lose years of your life in this cycle, years you'll never get back. And here's the truth most people never learn. Explaining yourself too much is a sign you've forgotten your own worth. Because when you truly value yourself, you no longer feel the need to justify your existence. You no longer defend your peace to people who don't care about it. You no longer hand out explanations like cheap souvenirs. You no longer water people's opinions while your soul dries out. Silence is not avoidance. Silence is alignment. The psychology behind over-explaining. People who over-explain aren't weak. They're wounded. They grew up believing if they understand me, they'll stay. If I explain enough, they won't be upset. If I justify myself, I won't be blamed. If I say it the right way, they'll finally see who I am. But the bitter lesson is this: understanding is not about explanation, it's about willingness. If someone isn't willing to see you, no amount of explaining will ever open their eyes. You could speak poetry, write paragraphs, lay out your heart like a map, and they still won't understand you because they don't want to. This realization is painful, but it sets you free. Silence is not weakness, it is mastery. Think of the ocean. Its power is not in its noise. Its power is in its depth. Your silence has depth. Your stillness has strength. Your quiet has clarity. Silence is not shutting down, giving up, admitting defeat, allowing disrespect. Silence is saying, without speaking, I know my truth. I don't need to argue it. There is a moment in spiritual growth where the loudest part of you becomes the part that says nothing. Not because you lack a response, but because their access to you no longer requires one. The sacred pause, your new superpower. Imagine you're in a conversation, and someone tries to pull you into conflict. A misunderstanding, a projection, a criticism that doesn't belong to you, a story about you that's not rooted in truth. Before, you would jump to defend yourself. You'd panic. You'd try to fix it immediately. But now you pause. You breathe. You ground yourself. You pull your energy back to your core instead of throwing it out into the world. This pause is your sovereignty. It says, I refuse to let you hijack my peace. Your perception is not my responsibility. Your narrative is not my truth. Your reaction is not my burden. The sacred pause is one of the highest forms of emotional intelligence. It turns chaos into clarity. It turns conflict into stillness. It turns weakness into wisdom. Disconnected silence vs. empowered silence. Not all silence is the same. Some silence is fear. Some silence is avoidance. Some silence is suppression. But empowered silence is different. Empowered silence comes from knowing. Your truth stands with or without validation. Your worth isn't on trial. Your peace is not negotiable. Your time is too valuable for meaningless battles. Empowered silence is a boundary. Decision. A declaration. It is choosing not to participate in conversations that drain you. It is choosing not to fight battles that don't grow you. It is choosing not to justify your choices to people who don't live your life. This kind of silence is not empty. It is full of strength, full of intention, full of dignity. Your energy is not for public access. There is a powerful moment when you finally say, I don't owe anyone a justification for honoring my peace. You don't owe explanations for why you walked away, why you set boundaries, why you outgrew someone, why you needed space, why you said no, why you healed, why you changed. Your healing is not a group project. Your boundaries are not open for negotiation. Your growth is not up for public debate. You have the right to grow quietly, to protect your energy without announcement, to choose peace without explanation. When silence becomes self-respect, your silence becomes powerful. The moment it comes from self-respect instead of fear. Self-respect looks like letting go of the need to be understood, choosing peace over proving a point, refusing to argue with someone who thrives on conflict, walking away from conversations that violate your boundaries, accepting that not everyone deserves access to your truth. The old version of you needed to explain. The new version of you no longer does. Because the moment you stop explaining, you stop shrinking. The moment you stop defending, you stop bleeding energy. The moment you stop justifying, you stop betraying yourself. Silence is not passive, it is the moment your soul takes the wheel. Let the truth speak in peaceful ways. You don't need to fight for your truth. Truth is like the sunrise. It rises regardless of who sees it. It shines regardless of who believes it. It warms everything around it without forcing anything. Your truth will rise without your shouting. Your worth will speak without your defending. Your peace will echo without your explaining. And the people meant for you will understand your silence more deeply than others ever understood your words. Closing reflection. The freedom of no longer explaining. One day, you stop needing to defend yourself. One day, you stop needing to prove your intentions. One day, you stop giving your energy to broken conversations. And on that day, you will feel something sacred return to you: your peace, your clarity, your dignity, your center, your power. Silence is not the absence of your voice. It is the presence of your strength. And when you choose silence from a place of worth, your life begins to change in ways you never imagined. Part 5: The Death of People-Pleasing. Replacing approval chasing with discernment. There is a moment in every person's life when they look back and realize something heartbreaking. Most of the exhaustion they've carried was never from hard work. It was from trying to keep everyone happy, trying not to disappoint anyone, trying to be liked, trying to avoid conflict, trying to be the easy one, the reliable one, the good one, trying to make sure no one ever felt uncomfortable, hurt, upset, or let down, even if it meant sacrificing yourself in the process. But here's the truth: people-pleasing isn't kindness. It's self-abandonment disguised as compassion. And the world will take and take and take until there's nothing left of you. The real cost of always saying yes. People who please everyone never mean to betray themselves. They start with kindness, real, genuine kindness. But kindness without boundaries becomes a quiet form of self-destruction. You say yes when you mean no. You accept things that hurt you. You allow behavior that drains your soul. You pretend you're okay when you're not. You show up for everyone except yourself. Over time, your spirit begins to dim. Your peace begins to shrink. Your energy becomes thin. Your authenticity gets traded for approval. And worst of all, you slowly disappear inside your own life. Where people-pleasing really comes from. People assume people-pleasers just want to be nice. But the truth runs much deeper. People-pleasing grows from fear. Fear of being rejected. Fear of being disliked. Fear of being seen as selfish, difficult, or too much. Fear of conflict because conflict once meant danger. Fear of losing love because love was conditional growing up. Somewhere in your past, you learned if they're happy, I'm safe. If I don't upset anyone, I won't be abandoned. If I make myself small, I won't be punished. If I please everyone, someone will finally choose me. But here's the painful irony: people-pleasing attracts people who want to use you, not people who want to cherish you. When you bend too much, you attract those who expect you to break. You cannot be loved for who you are if you keep disappearing into who you think they want. This realization is the beginning of freedom. Because the truth is simple but transformative. The more you try to please everyone, the further you drift from the one person who actually needs you the most: yourself. And when you betray yourself, you teach the world to do the same. People learn from your behavior. If you say yes to everything, they'll expect everything. If you never say no, they'll never consider your limits. If you tolerate disrespect, they'll assume you accept it. If you overgive, they'll stop giving entirely. Your behavior becomes the blueprint of how others treat you. Which means people-pleasing doesn't avoid pain. Why you said no, why you healed, why you changed your healing is not a group project. Your boundaries are not open for negotiation. Your growth is not up for public debate. You have the right to grow quietly. to protect your energy without announcement, to choose peace without explanation. When silence becomes self-respect, your silence becomes powerful. The moment it comes from self-respect instead of fear. Self-respect looks like letting go of the need to be understood, choosing peace over proving a point, refusing to argue with someone who thrives on conflict, walking away from conversations that violate your boundaries, accepting that not everyone deserves access to your truth. The old version of you needed to explain. The new version of you no longer does. Because the moment you stop explaining, you stop shrinking. The moment you stop defending, you stop bleeding energy. The moment you stop justifying, you stop betraying yourself. Silence is not passive, it is the moment your soul takes the wheel. Let the truth speak in peaceful ways. You don't need to fight for your truth. Truth is like the sunrise. It rises regardless of who sees it. It shines regardless of who believes it. It warms everything around it without forcing anything. Your truth will rise without your shouting. Your worth will speak without your defending. Your peace will echo without your explaining. And the people meant for you will understand your silence more deeply than others ever understood your words. Closing reflection. The freedom of no longer explaining. One day, you stop needing to defend yourself. One day, you stop needing to prove your intentions. One day, you stop giving your energy to broken conversations. And on that day, you will feel something sacred return to you: your peace, your clarity, your dignity, your center, your power. Silence is not the absence of your voice. It is the presence of your strength. And when you choose silence from a place of worth, your life begins to change in ways you never imagined. Part 5: The Death of People-Pleasing. Replacing approval chasing with discernment. There is a moment in every person's life when they look back and realize something heartbreaking. Most of the exhaustion they've carried was never from hard work. It was from trying to keep everyone happy, trying not to disappoint anyone, trying to be liked, trying to avoid conflict, trying to be the easy one, the reliable one, the good one, trying to make sure no one ever felt uncomfortable, hurt, upset, or let down, even if it meant sacrificing yourself in the process. But here's the truth: people-pleasing isn't kindness. It's self-abandonment disguised as compassion. And the world will take and take and take until there's nothing left of you. The real cost of always saying yes. People who please everyone never mean to betray themselves. They start with kindness, real, genuine kindness. But kindness without boundaries becomes a quiet form of self-destruction. You say yes when you mean no. You accept things that hurt you. You allow behavior that drains your soul. You pretend you're okay when you're not. You show up for everyone except yourself. Over time, your spirit begins to dim. Your peace begins to shrink. Your energy becomes thin. Your authenticity gets traded for approval. And worst of all, you slowly disappear inside your own life. Where people-pleasing really comes from, people assume people-pleasers just want to be nice. But the truth runs much deeper. People-pleasing grows from fear. Fear of being rejected. Fear of being disliked. Fear of being seen as selfish, difficult, or too much. Fear of conflict because conflict once meant danger. Fear of losing love because love was conditional growing up. Somewhere in your past, you learned if they're happy, I'm safe. If I don't upset anyone, I won't be abandoned. If I make myself small, I won't be punished. If I please everyone, someone will finally choose me. But here's the painful irony: people-pleasing attracts people who want to use you, not people who want to cherish you. When you bend too much, you attract those who expect you to break. You cannot be loved for who you are if you keep disappearing into who you think they want. This realization is the beginning of freedom. Because the truth is simple but transformative. The more you try to please everyone, the further you drift from the one person who actually needs you the most, yourself. And when you betray yourself, you teach the world to do the same. People learn from your behavior. If you say yes to everything, they'll expect everything. If you never say no, they'll never consider your limits. If you tolerate disrespect, they'll assume you accept it. If you overgive, they'll stop giving entirely. Your behavior becomes the blueprint of how others treat you. Which means people-pleasing doesn't avoid pain, they blame responsibilities. But the real reason is much quieter. Your energy is leaking into places that were never meant to hold it. The invisible ways you lose your life force. Your energy doesn't disappear in dramatic explosions. It slips away in tiny, unnoticed moments. Agreeing to what you don't want, engaging in arguments that go nowhere, explaining yourself to people who don't care, absorbing other people's negativity, scrolling mindlessly through chaos and comparison, saying yes when your body replaying conversations in your mind, carrying guilt that was never yours, holding on to relationships that drain you, trying to save people who refuse to save themselves. These are the silent thieves of the soul. You don't feel them take everything at once. They steal you slowly, one boundary ignored, one emotional leak at a time. This is how people lose themselves without ever noticing the moment it happened. Ask your energy is a currency, and you've been spending it on the wrong things. Think about money for a moment. You wouldn't hand your entire bank account to a stranger. You wouldn't invest in something that always loses value. You wouldn't pay for things that drain you. Yet with energy, the most valuable currency you have, that's exactly what people do every day. They overspend on toxic conversations, draining environments, emotional freeloaders, conflict that repeats connections with no reciprocity, and they underspend on healing, rest, joy, creativity, peace. Respect boundaries, purpose. You can rebuild money. You cannot rebuild wasted years of emotional depletion. This is why protecting your energy is not just self-care, it is spiritual survival. The places that deserve your energy and the places that don't, your energy is sacred. Not everyone deserves it. Not everything earns it. Not every situation is worthy of your emotional presence. Give your energy to people who lift you, conversations that grow you, habits that strengthen you, environments that calm you, dreams that excite you, silence that restores you, boundaries that ground you. Withdraw your energy from those who drain you, those who belittle you, those who only take, those who use guilt as a leash, those who show up only when they need something, those who don't value your time, presence, or effort. Your energy is the soil where your life grows. If the soil is poisoned, nothing that enters your life can stay healthy. Overgiving is not love, it is exhaustion. So many people confuse giving with loving. They think if I give more, I'll be appreciated. If I give more, they'll stay. If I give more, they'll finally see my worth. But overgiving never creates love. It creates resentment. It creates imbalance. It creates relationships where you become the source, and the other person becomes the constant taker. Love without boundaries becomes emotional bankruptcy. Real love requires two things: presence and reciprocity. If you are the only one giving, it is not love, it is self-sacrifice. And self-sacrifice is the fastest way to lose your inner light. Energy leaks, the silent saboteurs. Every person has energy leaks, small behaviors that drain life force without being noticed. Some of the biggest leaks are: 1. Trying to fix people who refuse to grow. You cannot save someone committed to their suffering. Your job is not to heal anyone who refuses to heal themselves too. Staying in places where your soul doesn't belong. If an environment constantly makes you shrink, Your spirit is trying to leave. 3. Keeping connections you've outgrown just because a relationship was right once doesn't mean it is right now. 4. Arguing with people who love conflict. Some people don't want peace. They want control. 5. Ignoring your body's signals. Your fatigue speaks. Your anxiety speaks. Your tension speaks. Your body tells the truth long before your mind admits it. 6. Pleasing the wrong people, trying to win the approval of people who don't value you, is emotional quicksand. 7. Living without boundaries. No boundary equals no energy. No energy equals no inner life. No inner life equals no peace, and life without peace is not living. It is surviving. The no energy list, a ritual that changes everything. Here is a practice that can genuinely transform your life. Create a no energy list. Write down everything that drains you. Every behavior, every person, every habit, every responsibility that no longer aligns with who you are. Then make a promise to yourself: if it drains me, it does not get access to me. Life becomes lighter the moment you stop carrying what was never yours. Your energy shapes the life you live. The Buddha once said, "Where your attention goes, your life flows." Here is the modern version of that truth. Your energy follows your attention. Your life follows your energy. If your energy is scattered, your life becomes chaotic. If your energy is drained, your life becomes heavy. If your energy is grounded, your life becomes peaceful. If your energy is aligned, your life becomes purposeful. This is not philosophy. This is reality. You become what you consistently feed. The power of protecting your energy. When you begin to protect your energy, something remarkable happens. You stop rushing. You stop explaining. You stop pleasing. You stop chasing. You stop absorbing. You stop tolerating what breaks you. And in that space, a miracle emerges. Your life starts attracting what aligns with your soul. You draw to you peaceful people, meaningful conversations, aligned opportunities, genuine love, deeper clarity, inner strength. Your true self. You no longer chase a life. You create one. Your energy is your fire, the flame that lights your path, warms your heart, and fuels your purpose. Protect it with everything you have. Guard it like royalty. Honor it like something divine, because it is. And when you do, your life rises to meet you with a kind of peace, purpose, and power that only those who protect their spirit ever experience. Your energy is your destiny. Where you place it determines the life you live. Choose wisely. Choose intentionally. Choose in alignment with your soul. Part 7. Boundaries. The most courageous form of self-respect. There is a moment we all face, even if we try to avoid it for years, when our heart whispers a truth we can no longer ignore. I cannot keep living like this. Not because life is falling apart. Not because someone hurt you. Not because you're weak or dramatic. But because your spirit is finally done tolerating what your soul should never have accepted. This is the birth of boundaries. Not the cold, harsh, defensive walls most people imagine, but the quiet, unwavering declaration of a person who has finally remembered their worth. Boundaries are not a punishment to others. They are a promise to yourself. The moment boundaries become necessary, you don't set boundaries because you've stopped caring. You set boundaries because you started caring about the right person, yourself. It happens subtly. You wake up drained, even though you slept. You feel resentment where there used to be kindness. You find yourself avoiding calls, messages, responsibilities. You feel your inner world shrinking to make space for everyone else. That's the moment your soul says, this is not love. This is depletion. Because love without boundaries becomes a slow death. And peace without boundaries becomes impossible. Why we fear boundaries. People don't struggle with boundaries because they lack strength. They struggle because boundaries trigger old wounds, the fear of disappointing others, the fear of being rejected, the fear of being called selfish, the fear of losing relationships, the fear of conflict, the fear of being understood, the fear that choosing yourself will somehow make you unlovable. These fears don't come from the present. They come from the past, from childhood homes where saying no led to punishment, from relationships where your needs were dismissed, from situations where love was conditional. But here's the truth: boundaries don't push healthy people away. Boundaries only expose who was unhealthy to begin with. The tree that learned to stand tall, there's a simple metaphor that explains boundaries better than any textbook. A young tree bends every time the wind blows. At first, it looks flexible, gentle, cooperative, soft. But over time, bending becomes its identity. It doesn't bend out of grace anymore, it bends out of fear of breaking. Until one day, the wind is too strong, and the tree snaps because it never learned how to stand firm. You are that tree. You were not meant to bend for every gust of wind. You were meant to stand tall, rooted, steady. Boundaries are not rigidity. They are protection. They are alignment. They are self-respect in motion. The 3 levels of boundaries to truly protect your life force. You must know the 3 levels of boundaries. 1. Physical boundaries: where you go, who you allow near you, what you tolerate in your environment, what you accept in your home, your body, your space. 2. Emotional boundaries: what you absorb, what you internalize, what you take responsibility for, what you let slide into your heart. Emotional boundaries protect you from becoming a container for other people's chaos. 3. Energetic boundaries: this is the level most people never master. Energetic boundaries are about who gets access to your presence, who drains you, who inspires you, who calms you, who disrupts your inner peace. This level determines the entire quality of your life. You become what you allow into your energy field. The difference between a wall and a boundary: walls say, I don't trust anyone. Boundaries say, I trust myself. Walls isolate. Boundaries empower. Walls come from fear. Boundaries come from clarity. Walls shut life out. Boundaries invite the right life in. You don't need walls. You need discernment. When you lose people after setting boundaries, one of the most painful and liberating parts of growth is this: you will lose people when you set boundaries. Not because you're wrong. Not because you're difficult. Not because you're selfish. You lose people because they benefited from your silence. They took advantage of your overgiving. They liked you better when you had no needs. They preferred the version of you that didn't have a backbone. They weren't looking for a relationship. They were looking for convenience. Let them go. Boundaries reveal the truth: anyone who leaves because you chose your peace was never aligned with your future, only your past. The courage to disappoint others: if you want a peaceful life, you must develop the courage to disappoint people. Not out of cruelty, but out of truth. You will disappoint people who expect you to be available 24/7, people who want you to carry all the emotional weight, people who relied on your guilt, people who liked you better exhausted, people who never planned to give anything back, people who loved your compliance more than your spirit. Disappointing the wrong people is part of becoming the right person. Ask the boundary that changes everything: no. Ask the most powerful boundary is one word: no. No to disrespect. No to overcommitment. No to emotional vampires. No to unrealistic expectations. No to guilt tripping. No to self-betrayal. No to conversations that go in circles. No to energy thieves. No to the past version of you that tolerated too much. No is a full sentence, a complete chapter, a declaration of identity. You are not losing people, you are finding yourself. When you commit to boundaries, you begin to see a miracle unfold. You no longer chase people. The right people find you. You no longer beg for respect. Respect becomes natural. You no longer sacrifice your peace. Peace becomes the baseline of your life. You no longer fight for love. Love becomes reciprocal. The people who stay after you set boundaries are the people who truly value you. The people who leave were the weight you were meant to release. Either way, you win. Your boundaries are not barriers. They are bridges to clarity, to peace, to self-respect. When you honor your boundaries, your energy stabilizes your mind, clears your relationships, improves your confidence, rises your life, aligns your inner world. Feels safe, your soul begins to breathe again. You stop apologizing for existing. You stop shrinking to fit. You stop absorbing what isn't yours. You stop carrying burdens that don't belong to you. Boundaries are love. Boundaries are clarity. Boundaries are freedom. But more than anything, boundaries are the moment you finally choose yourself. And that choice will transform your entire life. Part 8: The art of letting go. Detachment that protects your spirit. There is a kind of pain that doesn't scream. A kind of sorrow that doesn't show. A kind of heaviness that doesn't make a sound. It only quietly steals your joy, your peace, your clarity, one breath at a time. And most of the time, that heaviness has a single source, holding on to what your soul has already outgrown. But letting go isn't something we're taught. We're taught to cling. We're taught to fight. We're taught to endure, no matter the cost. We're taught to believe that losing anything, a person, a habit, a dream, a version of ourselves, is a sign of failure. But what if the exact opposite is true? What if letting go is not losing but finally choosing yourself? Why letting go feels like breaking? Letting go hurts because the heart doesn't cling to the present, it clings to memories, to promises, to potential, to the stories you created, to the version of someone they never actually became, to the idea of what could have been. You cling because something in you still believes, if I hold on a little longer, maybe it will change. Maybe they will see my worth. Maybe this pain will turn into peace. Maybe the ending isn't the ending. But Buddha taught clinging is the root of suffering. Not because love is wrong. Not because attachment is evil. But because holding on to anything that no longer aligns with your truth is the slowest form of self-betrayal. Letting go feels like breaking, because breaking is how your spirit frees itself. The bird that wanted to stay. Imagine a small bird wounded by a storm. A compassionate monk finds it, shelters it, cares for it until it heals. Every morning, the bird sings. Its song becomes familiar, comforting, beautiful. But the day comes when the bird is ready to fly. The monk knows what must be done. The cage must open. His heart hesitates. Will it return? What if it forgets me? What if I lose the song I've grown to love? But the elder beside him whispers the truth. A bird cannot fly if tied to a broken branch. And with that, the monk opens the cage. The bird soars. What the monk loved was never lost, the love, simply transformed. This is the heart of letting go. You do not lose what is real. You release what can no longer stay. Letting go is not coldness, it is clarity. There is a misconception that detachment means not caring. That letting go means closing your heart. But real detachment is the opposite. It is caring deeply without allowing that care to destroy you. It is loving without clinging. It is supporting without losing yourself. It is staying open without being consumed. Detachment is not coldness. It is clarity. It is saying, I release what harms my peace. I choose myself without guilt. I do not fight what is leaving. I trust what is meant for me. Letting go is a spiritual cleansing, a quiet recalibration of your soul. The attachments that break us. Letting go isn't just about people. Some of the hardest attachments to release are: 1. The old version of yourself, the one who tolerated too much. The one who didn't know better. The one who tried to be everything for everyone. The one who lived in fear, not awareness. 2. The timeline you created: I should be married by now. I should be more successful. I should have figured everything out. Life is not late. You are not late. You are right on time. 3. The wounds you keep replaying. The past hurts because you haven't stopped carrying it. Healing begins when you stop rewriting old chapters. 4. The stories you tell yourself. I'm not enough. I don't deserve better. Nothing good lasts for me. These aren't truths. They're scars pretending to be truths. 5. The expectations of others. Your life doesn't belong to everyone else's comfort. Letting go of these invisible attachments is the beginning of inner freedom. Your heart has seasons. Let it change. Life is seasonal. Your heart is seasonal. Your growth is seasonal. Some relationships are spring. They teach you how to bloom. Some are summer. They teach you joy. Some are fall. They teach you how to release. Some are winter. They teach you stillness, silence, rebuilding. You don't force spring. You don't cling to summer. You don't fear fall. You don't resent winter. You let each season come. You let each season go. Letting go is simply honoring the season your soul has entered. The freedom of not fighting for what's fading there is a moment when you finally stop fighting. Not because you're weak, but because your soul understands something your ego refuses to accept. What is fading is not for you. What is leaving is not your loss. What is ending is not your failure. You can love something deeply and still have to let it go. You can appreciate what it brought and still recognize it cannot stay. You can hold gratitude in one hand and release in the other. This is emotional maturity. This is spiritual wisdom. This is inner freedom. What you release makes space for what is meant to arrive. When you let go of what drains you, you create space for what nourishes you. When you let go of who harms you, you make room for who honors you. When you let go of old identities, you open the door to your real self. Letting go is not the end. It is the sacred clearing before a new beginning. Your future cannot enter a space still crowded with yesterday's ghosts. A gentle practice letting go without anger. Letting go does not require bitterness. It does not require burning bridges. It does not require closure from the other side. It simply requires honesty. Ask yourself, what is weighing on my heart? What am I forcing? What is no longer growing? What is costing me my peace? What hasn't felt like home in a long time? What am I afraid to release because I'm afraid of the emptiness that follows? Then breathe. Place your hand over your heart and whisper, I release you with love. I release the version of me that clung to you. I choose peace. This act alone rewrites your entire internal landscape. Letting go is not the end of love. It is the evolution of it. It is choosing freedom over fear. It is choosing clarity over attachment. It is choosing truth over fantasy. It is choosing your soul over your wounds. Letting go is not a loss. It is a return to yourself, to your peace, to your path, to your soul's alignment. What leaves your life makes space for what is waiting. What ends makes room for what begins. What you release becomes the doorway to your freedom. And the moment you let go, your spirit finally breathes again. Part 9. Healing the invisible beliefs that secretly run your life. There are wounds you can point to, wounds everyone can see, wounds the world acknowledges. And then there are the other wounds. The silent ones. The ones no one ever noticed. The ones you carried alone, in the dark corners of your mind. These are not physical wounds. They are beliefs. Invisible, powerful, unexamined beliefs that quietly shape your entire life. Beliefs about yourself. Beliefs about your worth. Beliefs about what you deserve. Beliefs about love, success, belonging, and safety. Beliefs formed not through logic, but through pain. Beliefs that became your internal script long before you were old enough to know you were writing one. And until you heal these invisible beliefs, no amount of self-help, no amount of motivation, no amount of trying harder will ever set you free. Because you don't live your life based on who you are. You live your life based on who you believe you are. The hidden narratives that control you. Every person carries invisible narratives, stories planted in childhood, reinforced through relationships, and absorbed through experience. Narratives like I'm too much, I'm not enough, love is earned, if I speak up, I'll be rejected, I need to fix everything, I'm responsible for everyone else's emotions, good things don't last for me, I have to stay strong, I can't show weakness, if I rest, I'm lazy. You don't say these beliefs out loud. You don't consciously choose them. But they run your life like a silent operating system. They shape the people you choose, the boundaries you set, the love you accept, the dreams you pursue, the pain you tolerate, the chances you never take. And unless you transform these beliefs, you'll keep reliving the same emotional cycles in different situations with different people, over and over again. Not because your life cannot change, but because your internal script hasn't changed. You are not broken, you are becoming. People often say, I feel damaged. I feel broken. I feel ruined by what I've been through. But here is the truth: you are not broken. You are becoming. Everything you've lived through, every hurt, every disappointment, every loss was not destroying you, it was shaping you. Your wounds were not proof of your weakness. They were openings for light. Your heartbreaks were not endings. They were awakenings. Your fear was not failure. It was a signal, a guide, a messenger, a doorway into the deeper parts of yourself that needed attention, compassion, understanding. Nothing that happened to you means you are unworthy. Nothing you survived means you are permanently damaged. Your pain is not a prison. It is a portal. The voice in your mind is not you. Many people think self-esteem is external, that changing your appearance, your job, your relationships, your routine will heal your inner world. But true healing begins in one place: your inner voice. You know that voice, the one that criticizes you before you even make a mistake. The one that shames you for the things you didn't know back then. The one that tells you you're behind even though life is not a race. The one that warns you not to try because you'll just fail. The one that whispers you're unworthy of something good, so you sabotage it before it starts. That voice is not you. It is a collection of experiences, painful memories, past relationships, family dynamics, childhood rules, societal expectations. Healing means learning to separate your true self from the voice of your old wounds. When your beliefs work against you, imagine you're walking through Central Park after a rainstorm. The sky is clearing, the world feels refreshed, and yet your mind is replaying old fears. What if I'm not good enough? What if I lose everything? What if I get hurt again? Notice something important: the world around you is peaceful, but your beliefs are not. This is what happens when the past controls the present. Your internal world becomes a battlefield, even when your external world is calm. Your beliefs shape your entire reality. If you think you're unworthy, you settle. If you think you're broken, you hide. If you think you're behind, you rush. If you think you're unsafe, you cling. If you think you're powerless, you tolerate pain. Your beliefs either imprison you or liberate you. But they can only liberate you when you become conscious of them. The most important question you can ask yourself to heal your belief system: begin with one question: which belief about myself hurts the most? Don't answer quickly. Sit with it. Feel it. Maybe it's the belief that you're unlovable. Maybe it's the belief that you'll never be enough. Maybe it's the belief that you always have to be strong. Maybe it's the belief that everyone leaves. Maybe it's the belief that you don't deserve more. This belief isn't random. It has roots. It has history. It has a story. Healing begins when you stop being ashamed of the story and start understanding it. You cannot rewrite something you refuse to read. The rewriting process, a new inner script. Once you identify the belief, you challenge it. Not with force, not with denial, not with toxic positivity, but with compassion. Ask yourself, who taught me this belief? Is it absolutely true? Who would I be without this belief? Does this belief protect me or imprison me? What evidence supports the opposite? Then rewrite it with gentleness. I am not unlovable. I was unappreciated. I am not behind. I am growing at my own pace. I am not broken. I am healing. I am not too much. I was around people who were too little. I am not unworthy. I was convinced to believe a lie. This is not pretending. This is reclaiming truth. Your new script will rise slowly at first, then steadily, then powerfully, until it becomes the foundation of your identity. Healing requires grief. One thing no one tells you about healing is this: to heal, you must grieve. Grieve the years you lost believing lies. Grieve the relationships you held on to out of fear. Grieve the opportunities you didn't pursue. Grieve the version of yourself that didn't know better. Grieve the emotional homes you built in places never meant to hold you. Grieve, but don't drown. Grief is not the end. Grief is the clearing before the new life begins. Your beliefs create your frequency. Every belief you carry shapes the energy you live in. And your energy becomes a magnet. If you believe you deserve chaos, you'll attract it. If you believe you deserve peace, you'll create it. If you believe you deserve real love, you'll stop accepting counterfeit versions of it. If you believe you deserve abundance, you'll stop settling for emotional crumbs. If you believe you deserve growth, you'll stop shrinking to fit into small spaces. Your life expands to meet the level of your beliefs. This is why healing isn't optional. It is essential. The return to your true identity. Stex, you were not born with shame. You were not born with self-doubt. You were not born with fear of abandonment. You were not born with beliefs that hurt you. These were stories handed to you, pain handed to you, narratives handed to you, and now you have the power to hand them back. Healing is not becoming someone new. It is returning to the person you were always meant to be before the world convinced you otherwise. You are not your past. You are not your wounds. You are not your survival patterns. You are not your old beliefs. You are the one who chooses what stays and what ends. And today your old beliefs end. You are free to rewrite everything. Part 10: Emotional Balance. The quiet power that changes everything. There is a moment, usually after years of being pulled in every direction, where you finally stop and realize that the greatest battle of your life was never with the world around you, but with the world inside you. It's not the chaos outside that destroys your peace. It's the chaos you carry within. It's not what people say that hurts the most. It's the storm their words awaken inside your mind. It's not the situations you face that exhaust you. It's the emotional turbulence they trigger: the spiraling thoughts, the racing heart, the tightness in your chest, the fear of losing control. And somewhere inside that storm, a quiet voice whispers the truth: your strength was never in controlling life. Your strength was always in controlling your inner world. This is emotional balance, the quiet power that changes everything. Life will always have storms, but you don't have to become one for years, maybe decades. You've been reacting to life. Someone disrespects you, right arrow, you collapse or explode. Someone ignores you, right arrow, you question your worth. Someone disappoints you, right arrow, you blame yourself. Something goes wrong, right arrow, you panic. Something feels uncertain, right arrow, you spiral into fear. Your emotions became the driver. Your reactions led your life. But here is the truth no one teaches: you cannot stop life from being unpredictable, but you can stop your inner world from being controlled by it. Storms will rage. People will disappoint. Plans will collapse. Uncertainty will always exist. But storms are only dangerous when you forget that your anchor lives inside you. The ocean metaphor, the depth that cannot be disturbed. Imagine standing at the edge of the Pacific Ocean. Waves crash loudly against the rocks. Wind pulls at your hair. The surface is wild, chaotic, unpredictable. But if you drop a stone into the water and watch it sink, something beautiful happens. The deeper it goes, the calmer the ocean becomes. At the bottom, no matter how wild the storm, above the ocean is still, unmoved, untouched, unaffected. That is emotional balance. Not deadness, not numbness, not passivity, but the awareness that your depth does not have to match the chaos of the surface. You are the ocean. Life is the waves. And when you find your depth, nothing on the surface can drown you. Why emotional balance is so hard for most people? Because most people were never taught how to feel safely. They were taught to hide emotion, to suppress emotion, to silence emotion, to mask emotion with perfection, productivity, or pretending. Or they were taught the opposite, to react instantly, intensely, impulsively. Neither is balance. Both are survival modes. True emotional balance starts with understanding one simple truth: your emotions are messengers, not masters. They inform you, they guide you, they warn you, they reflect you. But they do not define you. They are the waves, not the depth. Reactions versus responses, the 1 second difference that changes your life. There is a moment right between the stimulus and your action, a single second, where your entire life can shift. Most people never use this second. They react instantly. But emotional mastery happens when you claim that second, and you choose to respond, not react. Reaction is unconscious. Response is intentional. Reaction is survival. Response is wisdom. Reaction is fear. Response is clarity. That single second is your power. That second is your freedom. And the more you practice choosing it, the more balanced your emotional life becomes. The breath, your built-in reset button. You don't need complicated techniques to find balance. You don't need to become a monk or meditate for hours. You need one tool: the breath. Before responding, before reacting, before defending, before spiraling, breathe once. Slowly, deeply, with presence. One mindful breath can interrupt anxiety, soften anger, regulate your nervous system, calm your heart rate, restore clarity, bring you back into your body. This is not spiritual myth. This is science. Your breath is your anchor. Your breath is your power. Your breath is your path back to your depth. What emotional balance actually looks like in real life: it doesn't look like perfection. It doesn't look like always being calm. It doesn't look like never crying or never getting angry. Emotional balance looks like pausing instead of reacting, feeling without drowning, hearing criticism without collapsing, noticing fear without obeying it, letting yourself cry without shame, saying "I need a moment" without choosing, pulling away. When your spirit feels violated, understanding your triggers instead of denying them. Emotional balance isn't the absence of emotion. It is the presence of choice. Asterisk, you are allowed to feel everything, you're just not required to become everything you feel. This is the turning point. The sacred shift. The transformation you've been moving toward this entire journey. You don't need to suppress anything. You don't need to pretend. You don't need to be stoic or emotionless. You can feel deeply and still choose your response. You can experience pain and still choose peace. You can notice fear and still walk forward. You can feel anger and still choose boundaries instead of destruction. You can feel sadness and still treat yourself with gentleness. You can be human and still be balanced. The spiritual power of stillness. Stillness is not the absence of movement. Stillness is the absence of internal chaos. Stillness is the moment when the mind softens, the breath deepens, the body loosens, the heart quiets, the soul becomes audible. Stillness is where wisdom lives. This is why monks seek silence. Not because the world stops speaking, but because stillness lets them hear their own truth. And when you find stillness within yourself, you no longer cling to noise for identity. You no longer chase love to feel whole. You no longer run from solitude. You no longer drown in your thoughts. You no longer get lost in emotion. You no longer fear uncertainty. Stillness is your home, your center, your truth. Ask when you master your emotions. Life stops controlling you. Ask when you learn emotional balance. You stop letting people's moods dictate your day. You stop letting someone's silence make you feel unworthy. You stop letting fear decide your choices. You stop letting stress define your identity. You stop letting unpredictability break you. You stop letting your past script your future. You become unshakable. Not cold, not hardened, not disconnected, but grounded, deep, centered, grateful, intentional. The world doesn't get smaller. Your spirit gets bigger. Emotional balance is not something you chase. It is something you return to. It is the truth beneath all your storms. It is the calm beneath all your chaos. It is the wisdom beneath all your reactions. It is the realization that you are the observer, not the thought. The witness, not the emotion. The sky, not the storm. The moment you stop being ruled by the waves and start living from your depth, your entire life transforms. Your relationships transform. Your decisions transform. Your identity transforms. Your future transforms. Emotional balance is not the end of your healing. It is the beginning of your freedom. And now you are finally free to live the life your soul was always meant to experience. When you trace back through the entire journey, we've walked together the exhaustion, the overgiving, the chasing, the over-explaining, the self-doubt, the people-pleasing, the emotional storms. You begin to see one profound truth. Your suffering wasn't born from who you are. Your suffering was born from forgetting who you are. You forgot that your energy is sacred. You forgot that your worth is inherent. You forgot that your boundaries are valid. You forgot that letting go is not losing. You forgot that peace is your home, not a luxury. You forgot that you were never meant to shrink, bend, or carry the world on your shoulders just to feel loved or accepted. This journey was never about becoming someone new. It was about removing the layers: fear, trauma, expectations, conditioning that hid the person you always were. It was about remembering your source, your truth, your light. It was about returning home to yourself after years of wandering through emotional deserts. The truth is, every lesson in this story brought you closer to one message: you don't need the world to choose you. You need to choose yourself. When you stop begging for love, you learn that real love comes freely. When you stopped chasing, you began attracting. When you stopped explaining, you reclaimed your power. When you stopped people-pleasing, you rediscovered your identity. When you protected your energy, your life became clear. When you set boundaries, your relationships transformed. When you let go, you made space for your soul to breathe again. When you healed old beliefs, you unlocked a new future. And when you found emotional balance, you finally touched the peace that had been waiting inside you all along. This entire journey has been a mirror, not one that reflects who the world told you to be, but one that reflects the truth beneath all the noise. You are whole. You are worthy. You are enough. You always were. And now, as you stand at this new beginning, you carry something you may not have had before: clarity. Not the clarity of having all the answers, but the clarity of knowing where your answers live within you. This is your rebirth. This is your return. This is your moment of remembering that the life you desire has been waiting for you to awaken to your worth. Your story isn't ending here. It's only beginning this time, written by the real you. The core lesson is simple but transformational. Your life, transforms the moment you stop abandoning yourself. Apply it by practicing 3 daily commitments. Choose yourself first, not out of selfishness, but out of alignment. Protect your energy like it's your destiny, because it is. Respond from your inner peace, not from your old wounds. Just these 3 choices can change the entire direction of your life. What about you? Which part of this journey spoke to your heart the most? What lesson are you taking away from this story? Share your thoughts in the comments so others can learn from your perspective. Your voice may help someone today. If this message touched you, please subscribe to Buddhism in Every Moment so we can continue creating healing, meaningful, life-changing content together. Your support is the motivation that keeps this channel alive. Thank you for being here. Your presence matters.